Mike. What's your overriding emotion after that result?
A whole bunch. I think that probably, unfortunately, a mini version of our whole year, to be honest with you. I don't know if we could play a much better first half. I think that that was what we were looking at for, and what the group's been capable of from the very beginning. Even with Trez, his ankle and playing on one leg and missing a few things there. And then, unfortunately, a 5-assist, 30-point second half where the defense wasn't anywhere where it was the first half. That's a hard one for me to sit here and sort of digest right now. I thought we were organized and really detailed in the first half, and I think their pressure got us out of our comfort zone and sped us up the second half. And then I haven't made any excuses for this group the whole year, but we came out of a timeout with 6:30 to go, and we had a really, really hard no call. Down 4. And that was a tough one. It turns into an unsportsmanlike, and we just never recovered after that. So I got to give them a ton of credit, give their guards credit, give their pressure credit. And then I also want to give our group a ton of credit for kind of the journey we've been on the whole year. The ups, the downs, not being able to win on the road, to a team that won its first play-in game on the road, and then played as good a first half as I think we probably could play.
How did you manage to bring it all together after what's gone on throughout the year? And do you feel as though that first half was a potentially that could have been huge in a best of 3 series next week if you had have advanced?
Yeah, but we didn't.
So how did you bring it all together anyway?
Well, that's all. I've never had to bring it all together at the end of the year, to be honest with you. As an assistant, you go around and you shake everybody's hands and you do all this stuff. And then, as a head coach, it's a whole bunch of different emotions with each individual guy that you've built all these relationships with, and, the journey and how you're trying to, you gotta be able to build individual personal relationships to be able to coach guys and to be able to coach them hard and give them the hard truth at times. I kind of hit the ground in Adelaide, kind of running in August, and things changed quickly. And I would say the whole first part of the season, when we were playing once a week there, and I was kind of complaining about the lack of games and all the practices. But what it did do was it allowed us to, sort of figure things out. I got to know them individually, gave us more time to, go to lunch or grab coffee or, have these practices and try to just learn, your group as a whole, and to be honest with you, then learn the league, learn how things are going to be called and how it's played. And, I thought we made great strides once we got healthy. I believed in our top 8 when we were healthy the entire year. You saw that in the first half, how organized we were and played. And, unfortunately, again, the second half will haunt me for the next 6 months probably. There were shots probably all over the place. There was advantages out there. And like I said, you give the Phoenix a lot of credit for being able to pressure. And pressure's it's a funny thing, right? I mean, it turns us inwards. These guys are used to handling a lot of things all the way up through and being the best player on their team at probably every level all the way up through. And at times when you get to this level and everybody's out there pressuring, at times you've got to be able to go outward against the pressure and get that ball to the second side. That's what we did the first half. Even though we probably didn't have the assists, that I still thought we moved the ball. It went to different places. We played to some strengths. And then, unfortunately, that second half, it's what we've seen at times, and even like the third quarter against Sydney the other night, we've seen that side of us over and over and over, and unfortunately we couldn't get our feet back under us.
Are you content with how you used Kendrick tonight? 40 minutes, I believe.
Well, what am I going to do? We're eliminated. The season's over, so I don't like. Now that we lost, I'm going to be judged on it. I played him 35. I mean, we were humming along in the first half, especially that second quarter, right? I had that group of Jace and DJ and Kendrick and Rel and Trez, and man, I just ran them out, right? Because they were in such a groove as a coach. You just hate to sub that, right? I mean, there was just no way for me to. I knew guys were getting tired, right? I wanted to get Ice in there. I wanted to get Sunday in there, but the group had such momentum. You're just riding it out, and then unfortunately, the second half, you're trying to do the same thing to change the momentum, and we just couldn't find that group.
Mike, on the defensive side of the floor, I mean, your final quarter on Thursday night in Sydney was really impressive, and then what you did in the first half today, I believe it's the Phoenix's lowest scoring first half in their history today, 26 points.
Yeah.
When you counter that with what happened in the second half, like how do you kind of change that momentum when you know they're going to make a run, you know they're going to ride in that wave? How do you try and just get those few extra stops here and there just to kind of level that out?
Yeah.
Do you think that fell short?
Well, I mean, I think whenever in elimination basketball, right, they're desperate. There's going to be a level of desperation, and we talked about how they were going to come out, and same thing in the third quarter in Sydney, right? And you've got to sit there and know that they're going to do that and weather the storm and kind of get your legs back under us. And I don't want to make any excuses because they played really well and they played fast and they brought the pressure up. So I don't want to sit here and make a bunch of excuses, but you got to get organized. The ball's got to get to your stars, and you got to get them to the ball in their sweet spot. And we did that the first half, and we weren't able to do that the second half.
You called this game a mini version of how your whole season's kind of gone. So I know you need time to reflect post this.
Yeah.
What springs to mind immediately in terms of areas that you have to get better at for next season?
Well, I mean, I just think that, when we defended and we set our defense, we were elite. And you saw quarters of that. And you saw, a half and then another quarter or 2 quarters. And but to put it together 4 quarters, we probably didn't do that as well as we needed to do through the year. I mean, the first part of the year, we couldn't win on the road, right? I mean, we won that early season one at Illawarra, and then, we didn't win forever for a lot of different reasons. Until, down the stretch, we kind of got a rhythm and we got our feet under. So I would say, however this team looks next year, I think there were some really, really good things on the defense. I think we played a style that fit our personnel. We'll just have to see what the personnel looks next year. I think as a coach, you're always trying to, you're going to change your system depending on personnel, right? I mean, sort of probably my NBA background. We'll have a few of these guys back, but, Matt Weston buys the groceries and I'm supposed to cook it. And we'll figure out what that group looks like next year and try to put them in the best position to be successful and, just coach that group. I think we've learned a lot of things. There were some different things, both defensive and offensively as the season went on that I was like, man, I wish this was this way, or I wish we could add this, or, you're always thinking about mixing and matching. And just like when you sub a game, right? I mean, you're just making the soup every day, and sometimes the soup tastes like shit, and the second half tasted like shit. The first half couldn't have been better for us, right? I mean, so it's that, oh man, I knew what the formula was in the first half. Once they started pressuring us, and it started to go bad on us, right? And that's when we start to sub a little bit, and you're mixing and matching to try to get it right, and we couldn't get it right, and that's really frustrating for me right now.
Mike, can you talk through, I mean, you mentioned that lack of defence in that second half and on that side of the ball. Was it technique, was it effort, or an error in, the defensive scheme? Probably
all of the above right now. I obviously don't have the answers, or we wouldn't be sitting here with a loss. I mean, I don't know. I think leadership is shouldering responsibility. This is squarely on me, if that's what you're asking. I'll take it.
Jace, obviously not the way you would have wanted to go out to sort of end your career, but now as the emotion sort of sets in, how do you reflect on it all?
Just grateful. I grew up loving this league. I grew up being around it since I can remember, when Dad was with the Razorbacks as a GM, and so to get to this stage, 15 years, it's really cool. I'm really proud of myself. I've been in some interesting situations throughout my career, and I've always been true to who I am, and I think that's one thing I'll walk away really proud of.
Jace, you retired. I've watched your last 4 games and I can't help but think, why are you retiring?
I've seen a lot of people get to a point in their careers where no call comes and they sit there pondering about what's next, and I still love the game. Yes, I could probably still play another year or 2, but I've been fortunate enough to put myself in a position where I've done some things away from the game, and it's just sparked different interest in me as well. And so whilst I'll miss every bit of this tonight and every bit of every other game that I've been a part of, but I'm also really excited that I've been able to meet a person that runs Step One. He's a CEO and founder, and it's really just showed me a whole different world to dive into. And when you're looking to make an exit out of basketball, being able to exit on my own terms, I guess, there's a little bit of that leaves me proud. I've seen a lot of teammates, a lot of people can't even walk out of here, so I can walk out and go and play with my kids, and I'll still be around the game, and I'll probably end up back here someday sitting somewhere in a change room, but I'm just really excited for this next part of my journey.
You spoke yesterday and you said you'd thought about one of your best mates as trying to end your career today, and you had a pretty lovely moment at the end with Nate Sobey. Just tell us a little bit about that.
Gonna make me cry again. Sobes is an elite person. He's an elite competitor. Everyone judges Sobes by the shots he takes, and I see it all the time, and it drives me crazy, but no one knows the person that he is, and just the way he goes about it. Like, he's a guy you'd pick to have on your team every single night just because of the way he plays. And then the difference between him on the floor and off the floor is a completely different human being. You have to be around him on that level to understand him. So I would have loved to have been victorious tonight and ended his season, but they were too good in the second half, and we didn't handle that well, and they're going to be an interesting team for Illawarra in the semis, that's for sure.
Like you spoke a bit about Matt buying the groceries and you cooking it up. Does that suggest that you're definitely back next season?
I have no idea at this point. I mean, we'll just see what's going on, and it's been a hell of a learning experience and a journey, and made my dreams come true, Grant, to be a head coach, and it's just, we'll see what the future looks like, but, this guy and his career and what he's meant to me this year, right? His knowledge of the NBL, players, systems, style, it was unwavering support. I can't tell you how much I appreciate his support all year. We had a game where we were messing around with how to defend one team's zone offense, and I'm sitting there arguing with some guys, and Jace just grabs the board basically, and it was at halftime, and I draw on the mirrors in the change room sometimes if I don't have my board, so I'll just start drawing with a marker on my board, and he's like, no, all you got to do is this, bam, 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 and it was like, oh, yeah. So, those type of things, I can't tell you how much I appreciate just his leadership on the bench, in the locker room, on the practice court, on the plane, all those things, and he's going to be successful whatever he does. I know he'll be back in this league at some point, but whenever he wants to coach, wherever he wants to coach, just call me. I'll make sure he's got a job.
Appreciate it.
Just on that, I spoke to Max McKinnon a couple of weeks ago, and he spoke about you and the impact you've had with him, but he's convinced you're going to be a coach in this league someday, like undoubtedly. Like,
me too.
Obviously not in your immediate future, but have you given any thought to that as yet, and is it something you'd definitely be interested in at some point when time's right?
If you had spoke to me 12, 18 months ago, I would have said I would have kept playing until the wheels fell off and walked into assistant coach's job. But as I said, opportunities present itself at different times. There's probably no perfect time to retire. It would have been perfect if we won it all, but it's definitely something I'm going to do. I've been doing a lot with coaching kids in the past few years, and when I was in Brisbane and Adelaide, and I've helped a lot of young guys for their benefit, nothing to do with me. And so to have people like that reach out and say those things is really nice. It's been overwhelming, the amount of messages I've got this week. Like, I wasn't really expecting it. I kind of almost wanted to fly under the radar and get out of there, and it took Sobes and Isaac and a few of those guys who knew about it before to kind of have a go at me, saying you're not just going to slide away. So, look, I'll end up coaching. I don't know when, but I'm really excited for this next step.
What were the emotions walking off the floor for the last time? I could see you teared up a bit. Obviously, Melbourne is a place where you've got a lot of family and people close to you. What were those emotions like?
I was just trying to soak it all in. Obviously, that environment, I've been doing it for a little while now. Just you look up in the stands and you're the guy on the floor. And I'm really excited to be in the stands watching too. I won't say that I won't enjoy that part as well. But I was just trying to enjoy it. I had people fly down for the last 2 games. Started to become a thing. You're going to make us travel everywhere. But it's just an environment when you grow up wanting to do that and be that person and to do it for 15 years. Like it probably won't set in till later, but I just really wanted to enjoy that environment and I'll miss it for sure.
That's a nice.
Okay.